president said last night shows clearly, once again, over and over again, that he does not know the difference between right and wrong. And that's probably the nicest thing I can say about him.
All right, well, the president is now defending his comments, but hasn't this been happening for decades already? In other words, aren't we seeing campaigns throughout the many, many decades relying on advice from anyone and everyone to get their hands on that might have possible dirt on their opponents? To Democratic strategist Capri Cafaro, we have American Conservative Union Chairman Matt Schlapp. Matt, I ended with you. I think what made the president's remarks so, I don't know, jarring, to me at least, was that it was perfectly fine. And maybe you might think that, but he said that. And I thought that was weird. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I guess you could say a politician could avoid this whole topic, especially after we've been talking about it for 2 years, but that's just not the president's style. He was asked a question. He let George Stephanopoulos into the White House. He knows he's going to get tough questions. He knows he's going to go there. He gets asked this question. But, Neil, I think in the frame-up to your question, I think that's the more important thing here, which is our government has been trying to impact the elections around the globe for literally almost the entire existence of our country, and certainly very aggressively over the course of the last 50 years. So we try to impact elections all the time with our tax money.
But
Number two,
that wasn't the issue. The issue when he was asked if the foreign government had dirt on your opponent, would you listen? He said, yeah.
But we do that. We do that, Neil. Our government gives information.
Okay. But that's the president of the United States saying, yeah. And that doesn't alarm you?
No, Neil, I think what he said was if they had information in the course of a conversation, which he just said on Twitter, he had 5 or 6 conversations in the last 5 or 6 days with heads of states around the globe. If you're having a conversation and they relay information, that's the way it is with world leaders. World leaders have been trading information, including on their campaigns,
There's
for
a
very
difference,
long
though,
time.
here.
No, but let me just finish. But he said if there was any wrongdoing, he would turn it over to the FBI, which is exactly what he should do.
I might talk to the FBI.
He
Capri,
said he
what do you
would.
think? What do you think?
Well, a few things here. I mean, I think that it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, or if it's a foreign ally like the example of Norway, or an adversary like Russia. It doesn't matter, because if you are allowing any kind of foreign entity to try to get involved in a domestic political process, an election, that doesn't mean, quote unquote, meddling in the sense of hacking into voter registration rules, which has happened, or actual voter machines, which, you know, there's no proof of. But when you start to stir the pot, create, paths of disinformation, or go directly to a principal, whether it's a candidate or an elected official, as a foreign entity, again, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, if you're listening to those people, you are putting...
But Capri, you will admit that, Democrats were not immune to picking up controversial
100%.
sources, a dossier that was later.
I'm not about...
I get it.
I'm not
Both
about
parties
to...
are
That's
open
right.
to this sort of thing.
And
I don't think they should even be considering it.
No, exactly. I don't think they should be
considered.
considered. I don't think it should be considered because, look, this is not garden variety opposition research where, that is something in the course of business that is actually disclosed to the Federal Elections Commission, usually when you actually incur cost to contract with someone who does opposition research. This is a totally different kind of situation. And again, if you are from outside of this country and you're trying to get involved in one way, shape, or form, it is not right. I'm not about to, defend the Steele dossier, but I'm not about to defend what President Trump said either.
He didn't say that he was trying to get the information.
But he's willing to accept it.
He's talking to a world leader and something comes up about his race. Was it wrong for President Obama to talk to the head of the Russian government during the midst of his re-election campaign about what he could or could not do during the election season because of his political sensitivities? Was that an appropriate thing to do?
Well, I mean, again, I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, if I get in there the next time, maybe, I'll be able to be a little bit nicer to you, Putin, I think is what you're referring to. I'm not necessarily saying that that's great, but I'm also saying that that's not the same thing as, hey, Barack Obama, I have a whole pile, I have a whole binder of things on Mitt Romney to give you.
Let me suggest something here, though.
Go ahead,
let me suggest something. I mean, I've worked for a president. I've worked in a White House. What happens with these national leaders, and they're not always leaders of allied countries, is there's a human relationship that develops. Most of them run for re-election. Most of them have political concerns. They talk about everything from big international questions to small, petty political things. It's called having a relationship with someone. They talk about all these things. All the president's saying is that if he has that kind of relationship and they dish a little political dirt, he's going to listen, and if it's illegal, he's going to give it to the FBI.
Guys, I'm not here to count aspersions on either party. I'm just saying, look what we've been through as a country. The 2.5 years of a Mueller probe that a lot of people said was overwrought, overdone, and now we don't know what to do with it. And after
a Steele
all
dossier.
of that, got it. And after all of that, for the president to say, yeah, something similar came along and someone had dirt on my opponent, yeah, I might.
You can have a wonderful relationship with somebody, but when something comes out of their mouth, you can say, you know what, we're going to stop that conversation here and move on to the next topic. I agree that human relationships and interactions with other world leaders is important to the strength of our role within the global community, but you also cannot put yourself in jeopardy by allowing them to think that you could be vulnerable to, saying, well, we're going to give you some stuff on your political opponent. Then what? What do you owe them? And that, I think, is the question.
Don't you both think the bigger issue was why the president was sitting down and George Stephanopoulos was towering down, standing up, interviewing him? That's probably the
I'd have to do the same.
I've never seen George Stephanopoulos tower over anyone near.
Well, there was that
Me
moment.
neither.
See, I just tried to end this on a lighter note. All right, guys, thank you both very, very much.
Thanks again.